Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. This is the second lecture of Joseph Campbell's Byzantium, taken from Occidental Mythology, which is the name of a book. And in the first lecture of Joseph Campbell's Byzantium, we discussed that the article is about the controversies in the religion Christianity, and that four parties are involved in it. And we discussed those parties in 1, 2, 3, and that this is done in three phases. And phase one was discussed in lecture number 1, in which we said that there was a bishop named Apollinarius, and he gave a reply to this proposition, to this argument. The argument is this, that if all men are sinners and Christ was not a sinner, then Christ cannot have been truly a man. So Apollinarius replied to this argument, and he said that his soul, the soul of Jesus Christ, that was the soul of God, and human spirit was created in the image of God. Then we discussed the fact that this reply, of course, was very clever reply, but instead of making the things clearer, it made the things more vague. And Apollinarius and Nestorius, both of them, they believed that Christ was not a god, but a man. After this, Bishop Cyril came, and he justified the term the mother of God for Jesus Christ, for Mary, that Mary was the mother of God, and that Jesus Christ was God. So this is what Cyril said. Then a council was summoned by the king, by the emperor Theodosius, and it was confirmed, it was declared that Mary was the mother of God, and Nestorius, who did not believe so, was condemned, and he was forced to obey, and later on he was killed. So this was phase number 1 of this controversy. In phase number 2, we learn that this argument of incarnation once again opened in the year 448. Incarnation means coming in the shape of God. Human being coming in the shape of God. This is called incarnation. Bishop Cyril had died, and his see means his church or his place or status, it was handed over to Dioscorus, another bishop. So instead of Cyril, we had now Dioscorus, and during the same age, this controversy was resumed by an abbot named Eutyches. This abbot, Eutyches, had his strange and clumsy belief, which was opposed to Nestorius, and his belief was this, that before incarnation, before Jesus Christ coming in the shape of God, before this, he had two natures. That is, on the one hand, he was God, his spirit was that of God, and on the other hand, he was man, that is, his body or his flesh was that of a man. This was before incarnation. But after incarnation, when he came in the shape of God, there was only one nature, which meant that he was God after that. This idea was very strange, and it was a clumsy belief, and it was condemned by all, and he was degraded. However, Eutyches, he appealed to the emperor. He also appealed to the Pope Leo and to the monks of Constantinople. He appealed to them that his idea is correct. Therefore, Theodosius, he called a second council. Council is a kind of meeting, and it was called so that the findings of the first could be revised. This time, Dioscorus of Alexandria, which was the replacement of um, Cyril, I'm sorry, which was the replacement of Cyril, he presided over this meeting. Pope also wrote letters to the emperor, and Pope was against Eutyches. Pope Leo told the king in his letters that Eutyches was not correct, that he was in the error in telling his own strange and bizarre idea about Jesus Christ, and secondly, that the councils, which are called, the place for calling that councils are not, the place is not anywhere else, but it is only Rome where these councils should be called, these meetings should take place. And thirdly, that he himself, the Pope Leo, is very important, and he is the successor of Peter, the main apostle of Jesus Christ. So, as Peter was the main apostle out of the apostles of Jesus Christ, he is the main person in the bishops, and he should have the command, and he should um, he should discuss the controversy. This is only his right to do that. So the council was once again summoned, but again, it was not summoned at Rome, it was summoned at Ephesus. This is the name of a place in Turkey. We have discussed it already. It was called in 449, and Leo was not the leading figure in this meeting. He was not presiding it. It was presided by Dioscorus, who was the bishop of Alexandria. He presided the meeting. Leo also sent three different delegates. One was a bishop, the other was a priest, and yet another was a deacon. These are the different um, denominations of the ecclesiastical characters. All these were sent, and there was also a letter sent that was called Tom. That Tom was not even read. So no lift was given to it, and as a result, in the meeting, those who had condemned Eutyches, for example, the Pope, etc., were themselves condemned. So Pope Leo was also condemned because he had condemned Eutyches. As a result, this abbot was successful, and he was once again declared an orthodox, and he was reinstated. Uh, when this news went to Leo, the Pope, he called that this council was not a council, it could be called the robber council, because this council had robbed him of his status. It's a robber council. ये हमने जो अभी पढ़ा, इसका खुलासा ये है कि लेक्चर नंबर 1 में फेज़ 1 में हमने बातें की। सबसे पहले हमने बात की कि बेज़ेंटियम में क्रिश्चियन कंट्रोवर्सी का जिक्र है। इसमें 4 लोग इन्वॉल्व थे। फेज़ 1 में जो इम्पोर्टेंट लोग हैं एपोलिनेरियस हैं, शुरू इसने किया, और इसके बाद नेस्टोरियस था। नेस्टोरियस एपोलिनेरियस दोनों बिलीफ ये था कि जीसस क्राइस्ट आदमी है और ह्यूमन है। साइरल इसके बाद आया, उसने कहा कि नहीं, मेरी जो है शी वॉज द मदर ऑफ गॉड, और लिहाजा जीसस क्राइस्ट गॉड था। तो इस पर मीटिंग्स बुलाई गई, काउंसिल बुलाया गया, और वाकई इसको डिक्लेयर किया गया कि वो गॉड था, और नेस्टोरियस को कंडेम किया गया कि इसने गलत कहा था कि ये ह्यूमन था, और उसको मजबूर किया गया कि वो बे करे पे उसको एक मंक ने मारा भी। ये जो अभी हमने पढ़ा फेज़ 2 में, ये वो फेज़ है कि अब साइरल मर चुका है, और ये जो इनकारनेशन का आर्ग्यूमेंट है इसने दोबारा सर उठाया 448 में। इनकारनेशन का मतलब है मुजस्सम गॉड, कि ये गॉड था, जीसस क्राइस्ट गॉड की शक्ल में आया, ये इनकारनेशन कहलाता है। तो साइरल ये मर चुका था, और इसका जो ओहदा था, इट वाज गिवन टू ڈایوسکرس اس کو دیا گیا تھا یہ عہدہ، اور اب سائرل کی جگہ پہ یہ تھا۔ تاہم اس دوران ایک ایبٹ آیا اور اس کا نام یوٹیکیس تھا۔ ایبٹ بھی ایک عہدہ ہے ان کا، تو یہ نسٹوریس کے خلاف تھا، اس نے اپوز کیا نسٹوریس کو۔ تاہم اس کا بلیف تھوڑا سا کلمسی تھا، عجیب تھا، اور اس نے یہ کہا کہ جیسس کرائسٹ جب انکارنیٹڈ شکل میں نہیں آتا، گاڈ کی شکل میں نہیں آتا، تو اس کی دو نیچرز تھی، ایک گاڈ اور ایک مین۔ گاڈ جو ہے اس کا اسپرٹ گاڈ کا تھا اور اس کی باڈی مین کی تھی، اور انکارنیشن کے بعد اس کا نیچر ایک ہوا، یعنی یہ گاڈ بن گیا۔ تو اس آئیڈیا کو کنڈیم کیا گیا، اس کو ڈیگریڈ کیا گیا۔ تاہم یوٹیکیز نے اپیل کیا ایمپرر کو بھی، پوپ کو بھی، اور کانسٹینٹینوپل کے منکس کو بھی، اور تھیوڈوسیس نے پھر کاؤنسل بلایا، اور اس مرتبہ ڈایوسکرس نے اس کو پریزائڈ کیا۔ پوپلیو نے خطوط بھی لکھے، اور پوپلیو نے ایمپرر کو کہا کہ یوٹیکیز کی باتیں صحیح نہیں تھی، اور کاؤنسل بلانے کی جو اصل جگہ ہے وہ روم ہے، اور وہ چونکہ پیٹر کا جانشین ہے، تو جس طرح پیٹر اس کے اپوسلز میں، حواریین میں جیسس کرائسٹ کے بڑا تھا، مشر تھا، تو اب یہ ان کا مشر ہے، اور اس کا حق ہے کہ وہ ایسے جو اہم فیصلے ہیں وہ کرے، ڈسکس کریں۔ تو پھر کاؤنسل بلایا گیا 449 میں، اور یہ ایفیسس میں بلایا گیا تھا، اور اس کی جو صدارت تھی یہ ڈایوسکرس نے کی، اس نے پریزائڈ کیا۔ لیو نے 3 لوگوں کو ڈیلیگیٹس کو بھجوایا، بشپ کو بھجوایا، پریسٹ کو، ڈیکن کو بھجوایا، اور اس کا جو بک تھا، ٹام تھا، اس کا لیٹر تھا، اس کو پڑھا بھی نہیں گیا۔ اور اس میٹنگ میں جنہوں نے یوٹیکیس کو کنڈیم کیا تھا، انہوں نے ان لوگوں کو کنڈیم کیا جنہوں نے یوٹیکیس کو کنڈیم کیا تھا، جیسے پوپ وغیرہ۔ تو اس ایبٹ کو دوبارہ لگایا گیا، ری انسٹیٹ کیا گیا۔ جب لیو تک یہ بات پہنچی تو لیو نے اس کے بارے میں کہا کہ یہ رابر کاؤنسل تھا، لٹیرا کاؤنسل تھا، اس نے یہ لٹیرے والا کام کیا ہے۔ Emperor Theodosius II, he died because he fell from his horse into the river. The name of the river was Lycus. He broke his back and he died. It was in July 450. As a result of this death, his daughter, whose name was Pulcheria, she was proclaimed the empress. She became the empress. This was the woman who supported Pope Leo. You know, in the previous paragraph, we learned that Pope Leo called this council the Robber Council, and his tome and his letter was not even read. But Pulcheria, now the empress, in support of Pope Leo, as a result, another council was it was summoned, and this time it wasn't in Rome, but in Chalcedon. It was near Constantinople. This is the name of a place. The council or the meeting took place there. This time, the Pope's tome or the Pope's letter or book, it was accepted, and this time it was Dioscorius who was banished from his see. So you see one man calling another man a heretic, just like the controversies goes on with us too. This happened there. تو یہ نیکسٹ جو پیراگراف ہے اس کی سمری یہ ہوگی کہ تھیوڈوسیس II یہ اپنے گھوڑے سے گرا دریا میں، اس کی کمر ٹوٹی، مر گیا، تو اس کی بیٹی پلچیریا یہ تخت پہ بیٹھی، اور پلچیریا جو ہے یہ پوپ لیو کو سپورٹ کرتی تھی، تو اس نے سپورٹ کیا، اور ایک دوسرا کاؤنسل بلایا گیا، میٹنگ بلائی گئی چیلسیڈون میں جو کانسٹینٹینوپل کے قریب ہے، اور اس مرتبہ پوپ کا ٹوم یا بک یا لیٹر اس کو پڑھا گیا، اس کو ایکسیپٹ کیا گیا، اور ڈایوسکرس جو اس سے پہلے تھا اس کو بینش کیا گیا، نکالا گیا۔ So this is what happened then. The last part of this second phase is about the Coptic Monophysites. These were the people who believed in one nature. One nature means God, that he was God. He did not have two nature, that is on the one hand man and on the other hand God. He had one nature, that he was God. Coptic Monophysites believed in this. But besides this, um, they also had very strange practices. The hermits of this belief, they were spread in various Egyptian deserts, and they had different bizarre and very strange practices. For example, the groups called stylites and dendrites, uh, they said that they should be and they would be immobile. They would not move anywhere. Therefore, they started sitting atop the columns left among the ruins of old temples. They would sit atop the columns. This was one strange practice which was done. The others in the same group, they used to sit on the branches of trees to stay immobile. The second strange practice of theirs. The third one, they fed like animals on grass. That is, they won't eat anything else but grass. It's another strange practice of theirs. And there were others who chained themselves to rocks. There were others who had bore on their shoulders heavy yokes. So this group then arose. तो ये हमने पढ़ा कि ये जब मर गया, पुलसीरिया आ गई, तो इसने पोप लियो को सपोर्ट किया और काउंसिल समन करके डायस्करस को बैनिश किया। ताहम ये एक इंडिपेंडेंट ग्रुप भी बना जिसको कॉप्टिक मोनोफाइसाइट्स बोलते थे, और ये वन नेचर पे बिलीव करते थे कि जीसस क्राइस्ट वन नेचर गॉड है, और इनका बड़ा इन्फ्लुएंस रहा। मुख्तलिफ इनके हर्मिट्स, राहिब जिसको कहते हैं, वो बने और इजिप्शियंस या मिस्र के डेजर्ट्स में फैल गए। लेकिन इसकी जो आदात थी बड़ी अजीब व गरीब थी। बीज़ार का मतलब है अजीब व गरीब। ऑस्टेरिटी तो सादगी को कहते हैं, यहाँ इससे प्रैक्टिसेस मुराद हैं। तो इनमें से जो स्टाइलाइट्स का कहलाते थे और डेंड्राइट्स कहलाते थे, वो चाहते थे कि हम बिल्कुल हरकत में ना हो। लिहाजा जो पुराने ज़माने के टेम्पल्स के रूइंस हैं, उनके कॉलम्स पर, उनके मीनारों पर वो बैठे होते थे। ये एक मुश्किल काम था। और कुछ जो है इसी मोबिलिटी के चक्कर में दरख्तों के ब्रांचेस पे बैठे होते थे। कुछ एनिमल्स की तरह ग्रास पे गुजारा करते थे। कुछ अपने आप को रॉक्स के साथ चेन करते थे और कुछ अपने कंधों पे योक्स डालते थे। योग जिस तरह के हल चलाने के लिए दो बैलों के ऊपर एक लकड़ी सी डाली जाती है, इसको योग कहा जाता है। तो ये दूसरा फेज यहाँ पे ख़त्म होता है। The third phase started after 80 years. A decade means 80 years later. This was the time when Emperor Heraclius was ruling, and the patriarch, the major ecclesiastical character, the bishop or the pope at Constantinople, was Sergius, and he offered a formula which it was believed that it would finally solve everything. This idea was referred to as single energy in Christ behind his two natures. So single energy means just like single nature, with single energy, the word energy was used for these two natures. That is, there are two natures, on the one hand man, on the other hand God, and it is because of the single type of energy. This idea was then put forward to Monophysites of Alexandria, and they accepted it. Then a letter was written to Pope. That time the Pope was Honorius, and he also accepted. But he gave a suggestion that instead of using the word energy, the word will, the term will, should be used. And it was agreed upon the word will was used. For the time being. It looked that the thing had been solved in Byzantium, Rome, and Alexandria, three important places for Christianity. So it was believed that the problem had been solved for the time being at least. ये थर्ड फेज की हमने बात की कि ये लास्ट 80 इयर्स के बाद ये फेज आया और इस वक्त जो बादशाह था, एम्परर था, सुल्तान, उसका नाम हेराक्लियस था। कॉन्स्टेंटिनोपल में जो रिलीजियस मशहूर था वो सर्जियस था। सर्जियस ने एक फार्मूला पेश किया और ये तस्वर किया गया कि ये फार्मूला इस मसले को हल कर देगा, क्योंकि ये पॉलिटिकल मसला भी है, ये मिथिकल यानी रिलीजियस मसला भी है। तो ये मिथिको पॉलिटिकल जो मसला है, ब्रॉयल है, ये हल हो जाएगा इसके ज़रिए। और इसको कहा गया सिंगल एनर्जी इन क्राइस्ट बिहाइंड हिज टू नेचर्स, कि टू नेचर्स तो हैं, एक तरफ मैन एक तरफ गॉड, लेकिन इसका जो मंबा एनर्जी है वो एक है। तो मोनोफाइसाइट्स जो अलेक्जेंड्रिया में थे उनको पेश किया गया, उन्होंने इसको एक्सेप्ट किया। फिर पोप को ख़त लिखा गया, पोप ऑनोरियस था उस वक्त का, तो उसने भी इसको एक्सेप्ट किया। अलबत्ता उसने ये तजवीज़ दी कि हम एनर्जी की बजाय विल का टर्म इस्तेमाल करें, बाकी चीज़ें ठीक है। फॉर द टाइम बीइंग मसला हल हो गया। बाइजेंटियम में भी, रोम में भी, अलेक्जेंड्रिया में भी, ये तीनों जगह क्रिश्चियनिटी के हवाले से बड़ी इम्पॉर्टेंट जगह थी। लगा ये कि मसला हल हो गया है। In 638, the emperor of the time, through his bishop or patriarch Sergius, he declared that the single will term will be used, and the term one energy is prohibited. The as well as the doctrine of the two wills, that was also prohibited. So single will, that was proclaimed to be the best and to be the only one. And as a result of this, once again, the protests arose in different areas. And the next emperor, who was Constance II in 641, that was the following emperor, he simply forbade the discussion on the matter, that nobody will discuss this matter again, and everything was shut up. This was what happened. तो ये जो एम्परर था उस ज़माने का 638 में, उसने सर्जियस के ज़रिए, जो इसका पोप और इसका बिशप था, ऐलान ये किया कि सिंगल विल वाला आइडिया ठीक है और वन एनर्जी का टर्म ये प्रोहिबिट है, मना है, और डॉक्ट्रिन ऑफ टू विल्स भी मना है। इसकी वजह से एक तूफ़ान उठा प्रोटेस्ट का, एहतजाजों का। और इसके बाद जो एम्परर आया जिसका नाम कॉन्स्टेंस II था, उसने कहा कि बस ये डिस्कशन अब कोई नहीं करेगा। तो इस डिस्कशन को बंद कर दिया गया कि कोई बात ही नहीं करेगा इस पर, क्योंकि इससे लांझे पैदा होते हैं। The new pope named Martin in 649 was very defiant and was very bold as well. He condemned whatever the king had said. So he condemned both the one will doctrine. It was condemned that this is not correct doctrine. This was the one in which the king was also favor of. He also condemned the prohibition of discussion by the emperor. That is, the emperor had said there wouldn't be any discussion on this. He said no, there would be discussion on it. So he went against all this. As a result of this, he was kidnapped and he was conveyed to Constantinople. He was stripped naked, he was exposed, and a chain was put around his neck. He was dragged over the rough stones to the common prison, and he was ready to be beheaded. But then he was forgiven, he was reprieved, and he was banished from the area. And due to the maltreatment, he also expired and he died. नया जो पोप था, मार्टिन जिसका नाम था, 649 में, ये बहुत बोल्ड था। उसने कहा कि ये बादशाह ने जो बातें की हैं कि वन विल का डॉक्ट्रिन है, तो ये मैं कंडेम करता हूँ। और बादशाह ने जो कहा है कि डिस्कशन नहीं होगी, मैं इसको भी कंडेम करता हूँ। तो जब आप बादशाह की बात के साथ ऐसा करते हैं तो फिर आपके साथ भी कुछ होता है। तो इसको किडनैप किया गया, इसको बेइज्जत किया गया, इसके गले में चेन डाला गया, इसको घसीटा गया और इसको ले गए कि इसको हम डिहेड करेंगे, फांसी देंगे। ताहम इसको रिप्रीव किया गया, माफ़ी दी गई, बैनिश किया गया जलावतन, और इसी बदसलूकी की वजह से वो मर गया। तो ये आदमी मर गया और ये तकरीबन एंड है इस थर्ड फेज का। तो इसके बाद सिक्स्थ काउंसिल को बुलाया गया और इस काउंसिल का नाम था सिक्स्थ इक्यूमेनिकल काउंसिल। और इस काउंसिल में द डॉक्ट्रिन ऑफ टू नेचर्स जो था, इसको कंफर्म किया गया कि ये सही है। डॉक्ट्रिन ऑफ टू नेचर्स का मतलब है कि एक तरफ मैन, एक तरफ गॉड, दोनों बैक वक्त। और जो पहले का था वन विल वाला आइडिया, इसको ख़त्म किया गया, कंप्रोमाइज़ किया गया और सारे जो मोनोफाइसाइट्स थे इनको भी कंडेम किया गया। तो ये इस आर्टिकल का एंड है। इसके बाद हमारे मज़हब का थोड़ा सा कलमत तय्यबा का जिक्र है कि इसके बाद ये आया और फिर मज़ीद, लेकिन ये बाद वाला इतना इम्पोर्टेंट नहीं है। तमाम को अगर हम एक जुमले में डालना चाहें तो वो एक जुमला ये होगा। ये वो आदमी है जोसेफ कैम्पबेल, राइटर, और तमाम का एक सेंटेंस में खुलासा ये है कि बैजेंटियम आर्टिकल में जोसेफ कैम्पबेल क्रिश्चियनिटी की जितनी भी कंट्रोवर्सीज थी उनका जिक्र करता है। So in summary, in one sentence, we can say that this article named Byzantium is about the controversies about the religion called Christianity. Thank you and good luck.